Hi, I'm Scott. I'm 33, a paramedic, and the oldest son in a family that thought help was a one-way street, straight from me to them. And last Saturday, after a 12-hour overnight shift and barely 2 hours of sleep, my mom opened the door, looked at my 3-year-old daughter, and said, "We're not your nannies." So I smiled, adjusted Lily's backpack, and replied, "You're right. And I'm not your bank." That's when the panic began. Let me rewind. My life is lived in sirens and seconds. On shift, I stabilize chaos. At home, it's baby wipes, nap schedules, and a toddler who still says, "Daddy," like it's a magic word. I co-parent Lily with my ex, Hannah. We're civil, decent even, because we both know Lily's world is better when ours doesn't explode. I've been the good son my whole life. The helper. The one who answers every "Can you just?" like it's an alarm bell. At 21, I covered a mortgage payment for my folks. At 24, I co-signed for my sister's car. At 25, I handed Mom my credit card when her crown wasn't covered by insurance. She cried, said, "We're family, right?" And I nodded like that was a reason, not a debt. But somewhere between the toddler tantrums and late-night ambulance calls, I started keeping track. Literally. A note on my phone. Not to weaponize. Just to make sense of the fog. $1,200 bridge loan. $350 insurance. Groceries. Zelle transfers. Stuff I never saw again. I never planned to use it. Until that Saturday. I just wanted 2 hours. That's all. 2 hours of sleep after an overnight shift with a 4-car collision and a teenage overdose that stuck in my teeth like guilt. I texted Mom ahead of time. "Can you watch Lily for 2 hours? I'll be back by lunch." I even brought lunch. Backpack packed, snacks inside. I kissed Lily's forehead and stood on the porch with the quiet hope only the sleep-deprived understand. Mom opened the door in her robe, coffee in hand, and said, "We're not your nannies." I said, "You're right." And just before she closed the door, I said, "And I'm not your bank." The world stopped. Her face changed. The kind of change that lets you know the dynamic has officially shifted. Forever. Mom's face did this thing, tight smile gone, jaw locked like she bit into something sour. Behind her, Dad finally looked up from his throne, remote in hand like a judge about to declare contempt of court. I could almost hear the wheels turning. Did he just say that? To us? I turned and walked back to the car, Lily's hand wrapped around 2 of my fingers, her tiny rain boots splashing in a shallow puddle. She didn't ask questions. She just looked up and whispered, "Daddy tired?" I said, "Yeah, baby. Daddy's real tired." I buckled her in, climbed into the driver's seat, and just sat there for a minute, staring at the windshield like maybe the fog outside would match the one inside my head. The first call came before I even pulled out of the driveway. "Scott, don't be dramatic." Mom's voice sang through the speaker, too bright, too fast. "We didn't mean it like that." "Second call, Dad." "What's that supposed to mean, not your bank?" I didn't answer. I drove home, got Lily settled with a coloring book and some Cheerios, and laid down fully clothed on top of my covers. I didn't sleep. I just stared at the ceiling while the voicemail pings stacked like bricks on my chest. See, it wasn't about the 2 hours. Not really. It was about the principle of being useful only as long as I asked for nothing. The minute I needed something basic, childcare, for the daughter they used to fawn over on Facebook, I became inconvenient. A problem. A burden. And that wasn't new. When I was 19 and juggling EMT training with 2 part-time jobs, I still helped with the electric bill when they came up short. At 22, I lent Jenna rent money because her roommate skipped out. At 27, I took Lily to their house every other weekend because you're so good with kids, Scotty. Every sacrifice was silent. Every favor went undocumented, until I couldn't afford to forget anymore. So I started tracking it. A private note in my phone. Nothing dramatic. Just facts. May 2021, mortgage payment, $940. October 2022, Jenna's deductible, $600. January 2023, emergency groceries, $280, used during Dad's golf weekend. March 2023, dental crown for Mom, $1,150, paid directly to dentist. Each one a quiet IOU never returned. Still, I didn't confront them. Not when Jenna, accidentally, used my card linked to the mortgage to pull 2 separate cash advances. Not even when I found out Dad added her as a secondary user without telling me. I had the text from Messier. Please don't add anyone to this account. It's for mortgage only. Followed by his thumbs up emoji. I screenshotted it. Kept it. Because deep down, I knew this day would come. The day when the mask of family would slip, and I'd see it for what it was, expectation without reciprocity. That afternoon, I opened my banking app. I didn't even mean to, it was muscle memory. I scrolled past line items, cross-checked them with the notes in my phone. My stomach clenched. Almost $19,000. That's what I'd given my family in 3 years. No contracts. No agreements. Just guilt-wrapped transactions dressed as love. The group chat lit up. Jenna. Wow. You seriously had a spreadsheet? That's psychotic. Dad. You throw money in our faces like you're better than us. We raised you. Mom. We don't appreciate your tone earlier. We're always here for Lily when we can be. I didn't answer right away. I took Lily to the park. She stomped through leaves and mud while I sat on a bench watching gray clouds move like slow bruises across the sky. When we got home, she napped. I didn't. Instead, I did something I hadn't allowed myself to do for years. I wrote a message. In the group chat. I attached every major transaction with dates and context. I added screenshots of the unauthorized cash advances. I included the email from the mortgage company showing Jenna had been added by the homeowner. Dad. No emotions. No accusations. Just a message. Since we're talking about roles, here's what I've covered since 2021. Not exhaustive. Just major items. I am the bank. That ends today. Send. It was quiet. Then Mom. Scotty, why would you do this? Jenna. You need help. Dad. You'll regret this. Don't come asking when you need something. I just stared at my phone. Then I opened my banking app, ended the autopay, and called to remove my card from the mortgage entirely. New card. New boundaries. No more. We'll sell you next week. No more surprise withdrawals. No more martyrdom. When you grow up in a family where love comes with strings, you learn to tie yourself up to stay close. But eventually, you start to realize something. If you're always the rope, you'll never stop being pulled. It didn't take long for the backlash to start. When you pull the thread holding a family's unspoken contract together, the whole tapestry unravels, fast, loud, and messier than you expect. That night, my phone turned into a war zone. Missed calls, voicemails, texts. Some of them from people I hadn't heard from in years. First came the guilt. Mom's voicemails were a masterclass in emotional whiplash. Message 1, a warm. Honey, I think this is just a misunderstanding. Message 2. I cannot believe you would do this to us after everything we've done for you. Message 3, pure theater. If your father and I lose the house, that's on you. Then Jenna entered her villain arc. She sent a novella-length text laced with enough sarcasm to dissolve pavement. Family means nothing to you, apparently. We all helped each other growing up, but now that you've got your little medic job and your kid, you think you're too good for the rest of us. Hope Lily never learns to treat you the way you're treating your own parents. My hands trembled, not from fear, but from this almost surreal clarity. Because I knew what was happening, I was finally inconvenient. And people who only love you when you're convenient don't love you. They love what you do for them. Still, part of me ached. A big, stupid part. I kept thinking, maybe if I'd just explained it better. Maybe if I'd softened it. But you know what I realized? I had explained it. For years. Gently. Quietly. In the language of favors and sacrifices. They just didn't hear it until I stopped paying their bills. I didn't respond to their messages. Not at first. I made pancakes with Lily that morning. Let her stir the batter and get flour all over the floor. We danced to the Moana soundtrack in our socks. It felt light. Like someone had lifted a refrigerator off my chest. But later that afternoon, Mom finally texted the thing that broke through my silence. You wouldn't let your daughter be homeless. Why are you doing that to us? And I stared at that one for a long time. Because that's what it had always been about. Not support. Not partnership. Leverage. Guilt dressed up as family. They used love like a crowbar, pried into my every boundary until they broke clean through. So I answered, "From now on, my priority is Lily. I will be polite at family events. I will answer texts about birthdays and holidays. But I will not fund your emergencies caused by your bad choices. I'm not your bank. And if anyone uses my name or card for anything again, I will file a police report. No drama. Just a report." Then I turned off cell for everyone not named Hannah. The silence that followed was the loudest sound I'd ever heard. No replies that night. No calls. Nothing. Until the next morning. Mom posted a photo on Facebook, a mimosa, a brunch table, a caption that said, "Choosing joy. Some people take, others nourish." It had 3 typos. No one tagged me, of course. But I was the subject. Always had been. The implication was clear. I was the ungrateful child who abandoned his parents over money. The one who forgot where he came from. But I hadn't forgotten. I remembered exactly where I came from. I remembered being 19 and paying the electric bill so Mom wouldn't have to stress while Dad looked for work. I remembered co-signing Jenna's car loan when she was this close to a job offer. I remembered bringing dinner to their house every other Sunday and watching them post it online like they cooked it. Family dinner! #bless. I remembered asking Dad not to add Jenna to the mortgage-linked card and getting a thumbs-up emoji followed by betrayal. You don't forget those things. You just bury them under. Maybe they meant well. Until the day they hand you your kid back like she's a favor and not their grandchild, and say, "We're not your nannies." I still didn't respond online. But Hannah did. She never gets involved. She's civil, quiet, unshakable. But that morning, she posted in the family group chat, the same one where Jenna dropped passive-aggressive memes and Dad shared golf scores. Hannah wrote, "Scott is the best father I know. He works nights to provide for Lily. He has carried responsibilities that were never his. This isn't about love. It's about boundaries. If you can't respect that, please stop texting him." No hearts. No drama. Just 5 sentences that cracked the whole house of cards. Mom texted me privately. "Can you control your ex?" I replied. "No. She's her own person. Also, she's right." A few days passed. The family group chat quieted. Until Mom posted, "If anyone can help, we need $1,100 by Tuesday." Then, to me, privately, "You wouldn't let Lily be homeless." And that's when I understood, they still didn't get it. They thought this was a game. That I would cave. That love meant I'd show up with my checkbook like a knight in Target Scrubs armor. But they misunderstood the moment. Because it wasn't a war. It was a funeral. I buried the role they'd assigned me, family ATM, default fixer, silent provider. And I wrote back one last time. "You made this your norm for 3 years. I bought you time. I have a child now. I can't keep you alive by dying slower." No response. Just quiet. And quiet was better. You know what nobody tells you about boundaries? They're boring. Not the dramatic part, the first. No. The slammed door, the blocked card. That part's fireworks. But the maintenance? That's just spreadsheets and silence. Saying no on a Thursday when no one's watching. Choosing not to reply when your phone buzzes with guilt dressed as nostalgia. After that last message, "I can't keep you alive by dying slower," the silence held. No one responded. The group chat dried up. Not even a gif. It was like they were all holding their breath to see if I'd blink. I didn't. Instead, I got to work living. The regular kind. The kind I neglected while trying to hold up a family that treated me like scaffolding. That Monday, I called the mortgage company again. The account was now 2 months behind, and no one had called me to tell me. I thanked the rep, gave her a reference number to flag any unauthorized payment attempts, and asked, again, that I be completely removed. She paused, then said gently, "You've already done enough, sir." I laughed. Bitter but honest. Yeah. I had. The days blurred, the way they do when you work nights. I ran calls, lifted stretchers, wrapped gauze around wounds that needed surgery. I went home, fed Lily, wiped sticky Cheerios from her cheeks, read Goodnight Moon, until I could recite it in my sleep. I said no to overtime. No to extra shifts. No to anything that meant I'd miss her bath time, her belly laughs, her drowsy head on my chest. Meanwhile, the silence from my family kept unfolding like a stage with no actors. I half expected Jenna to show up at my door with an air fryer and a grudge. But she didn't. Instead, something stranger happened. They started changing. It was small at first. A week after the $100 by Tuesday plea, Mom texted again. We figured it out. That was it. No details. No apology. Just a quiet signal. We didn't get it from you. Good. Then, a week later, I took Lily to the pediatrician. I was half asleep, still wearing my uniform shirt. The nurse said, Your copay is covered. I blinked. Sorry? She double-checked. It's under Hannah's insurance now. Full coverage. I called Hannah in the parking lot. She answered on the first ring. You've done enough, she said simply. I sat in the car for a long time after that. Lily napped in the back seat, mouth slightly open, clutching her stuffed dinosaur. The sun warmed the windshield. And for once, I didn't feel like I was bracing for something, a call, a crisis, a new demand hidden inside a favor. I felt. Still. That weekend, something even rarer happened. Jenna called. She didn't text. She didn't send a meme with a middle finger buried in passive aggression. She called. I let it ring twice, staring at her name. Then I picked up. I need the number for your budget person, she said. No, hello. I blinked. I am the budget person. She groaned. Of course you are. Fine. I got a bartending job. It's not great, but it's money. I need to figure out how to not blow it all in the first weekend. I opened my laptop. Start with your actual take-home, not the fantasy number they gave you. We talked for 20 minutes. I walked her through a basic budget. Rent, food, utilities. Not optional, not emotional. Just math. At the end, she said, You're still impossible. Which, in Jenna speak, meant thank you. I laughed. Love you too. She hung up. Boundaries don't fix people. That's the lie. But they make space for people to fix themselves, if they want to. A few days later, Mom texted a photo. Lily asleep in the spare room, curls wild, cheeks smashed into a pillow. The caption? Safe. That was it. No emoji. No flourish. Just the word that had been haunting me for months. Safe. The reason I worked nights and kept receipts and drew invisible lines in the sand until they held. Because the truth was, I'd never been trying to punish anyone. I was just trying to protect us, me and Lily, from being worn down to a nub by people who thought love was another name for access. Mom started small. She didn't ask for help. She asked questions. Do you know how to make a grocery list that sticks to $80? Can you show me how to use that budget template? I answered, when I could. Politely. Briefly. Dad didn't call. But one night, he sent an emoji. Folded hands. A prayer. Or a plea. Or just the first symbol that didn't come with a bill attached. I didn't respond. But I felt something loosen. Then came Saturday. Brunch day. The anniversary. The day she said, We're not your nannies. The day I said, I'm not your bank. The day it all cracked open. But this year, there was no mimosa post. No brunch photos. No snide captions. Just a knock on my door at noon. I opened it, and there was Mom. No makeup. Red eyes. A folder in her hands. Can I come in? She asked. I didn't say anything. I stepped aside. She walked into the kitchen like it was a church. Sat at the table like it was an altar. Laid the folder down like it might explode. Hardship plan, she said. They want proof of income. A list of expenses. Your father can't, he doesn't. I don't know how to organize it. I looked at her. Then I sat across the table and opened the folder. Crinkled receipts. Notes in her shaky handwriting. A typed form with blanks still staring up like open wounds. I took out a pen. We'll do it now, I said. We didn't talk about the past. Not right then. We just did the math. I highlighted needs in yellow. Wants in blue. Crossed out the golf club membership. She flinched. He'll be mad, she whispered. He can be mad, I said. Anger's cheaper than foreclosure. She laughed. Just once. A sharp exhale. When we finished, she stood at the door, folder to her chest. "We love Lily," she said. "I know." She hesitated. "We love you too." I nodded. "I need you to love me with respect." She blinked. "Okay," she said, like she was trying out a word in a language she hadn't spoken in years. And maybe she was. This is the final part. The first time I dropped Lily off at my parents' house again, I didn't ask them for anything. No favor. No test. Just a Sunday visit. It felt like walking back into a burned building after the fire's gone out. The smoke lingers. The air tastes like memory. But the heat? It's gone. Mom opened the door. No sigh. No smirk. Just, "Come in." Dad didn't speak much. He looked older. Smaller. He hugged Lily like she was the last good thing left in the world, then looked at me and said quietly, "The bank approved the plan." He cleared his throat. "We sold some stuff." "Good," I said. "That's good." Lunch was sandwiches. Simple. No brunch spreads. No mimosa shots for Facebook. Just food. They asked about my shifts, and for once, listened when I said they were hard. I told them about a call, an older patient, scared, clutching my hand and whispering, "Please don't leave." Mom's eyes welled up. Dad said, almost too soft to hear, "Thank you for what you do." When Lily started getting drowsy, Mom surprised me. "She can nap here," she said quickly. "Just today. If you want." I checked myself. Not guilt. Not reflex. Choice. "Thank you," I said. "That would help." She smiled. All the way up to her eyes. Not the Facebook smile. The real one. "We'll text you if she wakes up early." I drove home. I didn't cry. I didn't check my phone. I didn't brace for another ask. I made a sandwich, stood at my sink, and ate it with both hands. No adrenaline. No low-grade panic. Just quiet. And quiet felt like mine. Because setting boundaries is called selfish, but so is martyrdom, if we're being honest. Playing hero, sacrificing everything, so you never have to watch people struggle? That's just control wearing a halo. The truth is simpler. I'm a dad. My job is to keep Lily safe. To keep me safe enough to keep her safe. And to let the adults in my life carry their own weight, even if they stumble. Even if it's uncomfortable. Even if it means they fall. When I picked Lily up, Mom had a note in her backpack. What she ate. What time she fell asleep. If she asked for her pink blanket. It read like another language we were finally learning together. At the door, Mom said, "Thanks for the budget thing. You did the hard part." I said. She nodded. "We'll figure it out." On the way to the car, Dad stopped me. "I shouldn't have said that thing," he murmured. "About nannies." I met his eyes. "I shouldn't have waited 3 years to say I'm not a bank." He stared out at the yard. "We got used to you fixing everything." "I know," I said. "Me too." He looked at Lily, then back at me. "You're a good father." I exhaled. "That's the job." We drove home. Lily fell asleep halfway there. I carried her up the stairs and tucked her in. Then I opened my notes app. The last line still read, July, autopay cancelled. I added a new line, August, started over. Because the moral isn't family above all. It's family with boundaries. It's love without a credit limit. It's knowing that you can't pour from an empty account, not your bank account, not your energy, not your soul. I still show up. I still help. I still answer calls when I can. But now, when a bill slides under my door dressed as love, I send it back with a note. Wrong address. And when people ask me what happened, I just say, "My mom refused to watch my daughter. She said, 'We're not your nannies.' So I said, 'You're right. I'm not your bank.'" That's when it all got loud. Then quiet. And quiet is better. I turn off the kitchen light. Lily's soft snore hums in the next room. I don't check my phone. I don't brace for the next ask. I just breathe. Because I'm Scott. I'm a paramedic. I'm not their bank. I'm Lily's dad. That's the whole story. That's enough.